What's up, photographers? Today's video is going to be geared mostly toward photographers who are intimidated by technique. I hope that by reframing for you why technique is so important, it might help you out on your journey. You might be less intimidated by all the technical stuff. Now, I first want to talk about personality types. I used to work with a photographer when I first started out who thought you were either technical or you were creative. So you're either going to shoot from the hip or you're going to really get the technical stuff, but you're not going to be very creative. I don't think that's true. I do think people tend to fall into one of those two personality traits, but the idea that you can have one but not the other is completely false. The goal should be having both. If you're a very technical photographer, you really need to push yourself to be creative. But if you're a very creative photographer, and by the way, that's the harder thing because that is so much personality type, but even if you're a slow technical learner, you can learn that. Learning to be creative is a little bit harder in my opinion. But anyway, let's say you are a creative photographer and you're intimidated by the technique. Let's talk about why it's so important you stop being intimidated, that you learn the technique, because it will make you a better photographer. Now, first, it's important to understand that the camera sees very differently than you do. All the time my students come back to class shooting their assignment for the week and they tell me, Mick, I saw this beautiful sunset and then I went to photograph it and it just looked like crap. It didn't look like how I saw it. Yeah, because the camera sees very differently than you do. And understanding how the camera sees is going to help you effectively see something and learn how to capture it. Or understand that your camera won't capture what you see. So it could mean capturing what you see by understanding how the camera sees and adjusting. Or it could be not letting go of how you see it, understanding how the camera sees, and then creating work within that parameter. So that's number one, learning how your camera sees and then adapting to that. The second thing I want to talk about is thinking of photography not as a technical thing. It is, but we're going to think of it more as a craft. It's a craft that you're working on. I think that's a little mind hack just calling it a craft versus calling it like a technical thing, because I'm sure there's a lot of people like crafting but don't like computer stuff, right? But how is it any different? I'm not so sure it is. So learning that craft, just like we considered it when it was black and white film photography or color film photography, doesn't matter. We thought of photography more of a craft. Yeah, it was technical, but we thought of it as a craft. I think reframing it that way can really help. I know it sounds simple, but you guys let me know in the comments. A lot of people when they're first starting out find the technical stuff to be overwhelming because there's so much to it. There's just so much they have to remember. Shutter speed, ISO, aperture, all your different settings. What is my drive speed at? What is what's servo mode? I don't know what servo mode is. What is single shot? There's just so much to remember, and digital cameras make it even worse with all these different things in the menu, and you start to think you have to master all of them to be effective as a photographer. And yeah, eventually I think it is important to understand all this stuff, but trying to understand it all at once is incredibly difficult. Imagine you were learning to juggle with 5 balls starting out. I don't think I could do it. It would be incredibly difficult. You have to start with 2 balls and you go up to 3, and then you go up to 4, then you go up to 5. And you don't move up until all that other stuff is subconscious, that you're able to do it without thinking. And the same would go for photography. It's really important you just work on a few things at a time, develop it until it becomes habit formed, and then you can move on to the next. That's it for today. I think when I drink a lot of coffee, I definitely talk more. I don't know. I don't know if my thoughts are more clear, but I definitely talk more. I feel more effective. All right. I will see you guys in the next video. By the way, new film content coming soon. I've really been putting a lot of that off, but I haven't been shooting as much. I've been too busy and stressed out with work stuff that I haven't been shooting, and I think it's long overdue that I go out and shoot for fun, so I started doing that again. You guys should see that content soon.